All right, so this is another bad movie review. This is going to be on Venom from 2018. The sequel is coming out, I think, sometime this year, and I'm not excited for it. This movie did good, even though it's not good, and it got pretty bad reviews. So yeah, this is directed by Ruben Fletcher. Tom Hardy plays Eddie Brock. His fiance is Anne Wing, played by Michelle Williams. So Eddie Brock, he's a investigative reporter. He's kind of the guy. He deals with like corruption and things within companies. He's looking out for the little guy or whatever. Even though he sounds like and acts like a complete idiot, but we'll get back to that. He uses confidential files and things to go after Carlton Drake, the villain, played by Riz Ahmed in this movie. And Riz Ahmed, his character is actually going out to space and getting the symbiotes, and he's performing experiments on the homeless. He's using the homeless with the symbiotes, and people are ending up dead. So Tom Hardy finds out about this because he can't give his sources because he illegally got it from his fiance's computer because she works at a law firm, and that law firm was actually representing Carlton Drake, was his company. So he gets fired, she gets fired, and then they split up. 6 months has passed, and there was also a crash that happened where one of the symbiotes got free. Jenny Slate plays Dr. Doris Girth, and she's finally kind of done with the whole experiments thing and people dying. That's probably an issue. So she just randomly kind of has this meeting that's kind of weird with Tom Hardy, and so Tom Hardy goes with her to the facility. The homeless person that he gave $20 to was actually in there, and so he tries to break her out, and the Venom suit, the symbiote suit that's on her, gets onto him, and that's how he gets Venom. And so the rest of the movie at that point is him just kind of just bumbling through the movie, you know, eating out of the trash can, jumping into a tank of lobsters at a restaurant, and biting the lobsters' heads off. Venom wants to get to the shuttle to leave, I guess, but changes his mind because him and Eddie Brock have formed a friendship. Whatever. It's believed that the Venom suit is hurting him or killing him, so they split up, and then they end up coming back together after that. The symbiote, the other one, who turns out to be Riot, finally makes his way to, what was it, the Life Foundation? I didn't even say what it was called. That's Riz Ahmed's character, his corporation. Finally makes his way there. Then he, comes together, bonds with Riz Ahmed's character, Carlton Drake. And now his plan is he wants to fly off to their planet, bring the symbiotes back, and then they take over the Earth. They get into this really ugly ass fight scene, and then it's believed that Venom dies from getting burnt up when the aircraft blows up, but he still has Venom in the end. And then he's just randomly interviewing Woody Harrelson as Cletus Cassidy at the end, so they can set up the Carnage movie, this sequel. This movie sucks, but we'll talk about the positives first. So Tom Hardy, his character is ridiculous, but he is trying. But I mean, his character is so weird, but he is trying. He's trying his best. So I'll give him that. He's a good actor. It's not him.
Hey, Dan, with this parasite, would like be able to make me, I don't know, like climb a really, really, really tall tree, but super, super fast.
Yes, we just did.
The fight scenes are okay. The CG definitely isn't very good, but they're exciting enough for this kind of movie. He's going through this high-speed chase on his motorcycle away from these these mercenaries or whatever that work for Carlton Drake. So there's some good stuff there. There's some decent fighting things within his apartment when they first go to get him. And Eddie and Venom, they have this buddy thing going on. Now, I think it's awful for the character of Venom, but obviously this is the Venom that I would want anyway. But their relationship is probably the best one in the movie. Like, he has way more chemistry with Venom than he would ever have with with Anne, with Michelle Williams. So there's that. I mean, that's the best I can say about it. The dialogue is so fucking bad between those two.
You are making us look bad.
I am not.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
Why would you do that? Jump. Pussy.
Wow, the dialogue as a whole is bad, but especially with those two. I mean, it feels like they barely really spent that much time together, and then they, and then they have this emotional moment where, like, Venom is first of all, Venom is giving him like dating advice when it comes to Michelle Williams' character, but Tom Hardy is like, "Oh, you changed your mind. Well, what made you change your mind?" He's like, "You," and I was like, "All right, what the fuck is this?" So anyway, we can finally get into it. This movie is very poorly written. In the beginning, it doesn't even feel natural at all. Most of this doesn't. Most of it feels pretty off with the performances and the line delivery, especially with Tom Hardy and Michelle Williams. And you know, does the way that he's playing it, it's like, what are they going for here? Because he's supposed to be this investigative reporter, but I mean, he sounds like an idiot. I mean, listen to this.
The Life
It didn't
Foundation.
happen overnight.
And then rockets. You then decide, like any normal human being, that you're gonna go and explore space. Let me tell you something, buddy. All right, just man, because I have spent a significant amount of time, all right, with one of these creatures up my ass.
I mean, what are we doing? I mean, so he's really bad, eating out the garbage. That's ridiculous. All that is farcical, but it's kind of like ironically good because you could laugh at how ridiculous it is. But his relationship with Michelle Williams, like, they have so little chemistry. It's like, it's not even like zero chemistry, which is what I wrote in the notes. It's below zero. It's probably in the negatives. They sit next to each other in that restaurant, like right on each other. And the whole time it feels like they just don't want to be next to each other. It's like Michelle Williams just wants to leave.
That's you
That's not.
that I'm talking about.
Nah.
Yeah.
You're lucky to have me. To be fair, I'm quite a catch. That's what my mom told me.
Michelle Williams, the way that she plays this, I mean, she smiles after, like, I think every line. The way she plays it, there's this level of almost sarcasm. Like, there's this level of her knowing this is trash and not wanting to be here. It's not quite, like, completely phoning it in like Jennifer Lawrence and the later, X-Men movies that she's in. It's not to that level, but it's like she knows this is bad material. It's like at any point, especially with some of these lines,
Hey, I'm sorry about Venom.
it's like at any point she could just burst out into laughter and just be like, "Look, this is ridiculous. I can't do this, guys," or something. It feels like that because of the way she's playing it, and that was actually kind of making me laugh because I was like, "Wow, you just really don't want to be here." And she got that ugly ass wig on. Trust me, we'll get back to wigs. Carlton Drake, Riz Ahmed, like his plan, like they just kind of needed something for him to do because he wants to, like, he sends drones out and stuff to get the symbiotes because he wants to look for planets for us to go to because he's concerned about global warming, climate change, and overpopulation. So he sends these things out there and to bring back the symbiotes, and he's using homeless people and making them bond to them so that I guess all of us, almost like Interstellar, he's afraid of us not being able to live on Earth, so he wants to find a new home for us. So he's bonding them to homeless people, and homeless people are dying left and right, and he seems to not care at all. So why? How many homeless people would have to die before he's like, you know what, maybe I should come up with a different plan? Like, it's just so, like, people are dying left and right, but he's still going on with this plan that makes no sense. Like, you have this whole thing where the homeless people are dying because just nobody's compatible with these symbiotes. But Riot can bond with this paramedic person, with this old lady, and take forever to get to an airport. With a little girl, Venom can bond with a dog. Venom can bond with Anne, with Michelle Williams, and with Tom Hardy, like, seamlessly. And Riot can bond with Carlton Drake at the end when they need this final fight scene. I mean, it's so inconsistent, right? Like, it's really bad writing to the point where things don't make sense. They just kind of have to happen because the plot needs to keep going. Like, he gives $20 to a homeless person. Why? He's struggling, and he's living in San Francisco, which is expensive to live in. It's been 6 months, and he hasn't had a job, and he can't even get a dishwashing job. But he's giving $20 to a homeless person. It's just to show that he's kind, and for there to be that, connection for him to break her out and get Venom, right? That's the only reason it's for it. That makes no sense for him to give $20 to a homeless person. No sense at all. And that person is only there for that. Jenny Slate, she's been going along with it. Her character has been going along with this whole time, but now all of a sudden, because he threatened her family, which she already knew he was about that. Now all of a sudden she's against it, and she goes to this store, and it's almost like Tom Hardy's talking to himself, but he spends a lot of this movie doing that when he's talking to Venom. He's just standing in a store, and he's like, I had to follow a lot of people. I was like, man, this dude sounds like an idiot. But anyway, the way that he's giving his lines, the way this character is, I don't know. But he finally makes contact with her face to face, and she looks surprised, but only for a second, for her to then go up to him, recognize him immediately, and give him her card. And it's like, it was weird. It's almost like she called him there, but she was still surprised that he was there. She didn't call him there. She doesn't want to do this, but luckily she was randomly in a store buying something for Eddie Brock to be there. And then he didn't take the card because he didn't want to, get involved because of what happened before. And later on, he uses the card to call her so he can go to the facility. I could have swore he gave her back that card. So why does he have it again? And there's stuff like that. It just makes no sense. The whole thing with him using that information off his fiance's laptop. He knows that that's not right. This man is fighting against corruption and all this other stuff. Apparently, ethics and journalism just doesn't matter to him, I guess. But he uses that and loses everything because he needs to be at his lowest point. He needs to have a fall from grace for this story. So he's going to do something that makes absolutely no sense, especially for somebody who's this big hotshot reporter that everybody knows in the area.
Let's go before the price goes up for my protection. The full payment is due now.
You have the whole thing with the Mrs. Chen at that at the whatever store that she runs. And apparently this one guy, at first I thought he worked for a mob boss or something, but no, it seems like it's just this one guy, and he just kind of walks in and just puts a gun in her face to get money from her, for protection money. It felt like it was just him. So if it was just him, that means that she would be able to call the police, and they would probably be able to take care of one guy, right? It's not like there's a mob boss that the police would have to go through all this organized crime to find, right? It's like the guy just stumbled in one day and said, hey, give me your money, and he immediately puts his gun in her face and just hey, give me the money. The way it plays out makes it's just so badly done. But, he doesn't even look around to see that anybody's even in the store, right? Both times somebody was in the store and just got done talking to her, right? He could probably turn his head and see. He probably could have saw him when he walked in. It doesn't make any sense. And then the continuity error of Venom, when eating him, says he's going to bite his head off. I guess he eats him whole because he's not there anymore. But he walks out and there's just nothing there. You would have some kind of visual representation of what happened there. You would have his pants ripped up in that spot, or you would have some blood splatter or something like that. This movie's completely bloodless, even though he's biting heads off and doing all this other stuff. There is no reason why this movie's not rated R. They finally get the fight scene. Like I said, it's awful. It's just goop all over the place. You can barely tell them apart because, like in a lot of superhero movies, they both have the same powers and stuff like that. So they're just a different color, really. So you can't really, get much for that. Carlton Drake, I guess, has completely forgotten about his original plan. Now he's gonna stay on the planet, but he's gonna go get the other symbiotes and bond them to people to take over. Even though, like what they were setting up before, the symbiote may not be able to bond to a lot of the people, and they'll just die. So whatever, and the symbiotes will die because they don't have a host. Whatever. It's a ridiculous fight scene, and I really don't understand how Venom survived either. He just has Venom at the end. Whatever. So you get that shitty ass fight scene, and then the movie has at least one more middle finger. I would actually say that Eminem song is pretty shit too. Venom ain't gonna know what hit him or whatever. It's so lame. It's like a really older superhero movie from way back in the day. But you have that, and then he just, almost like Mindhunter style, gets to have this little interview with this serial killer, Cletus Cassidy. And, even though he's an investigative reporter into like big business and stuff like that for the little guy, apparently he's going to do this interview with Cletus Cassidy to find all some bodies that he buried. It's like, whatever. I mean, it's just to set up the sequel. Woody Harrelson has this ugly ass, ridiculous wig. I remember when I was in the theater, I burst out laughing. I was like, "This is embarrassing. This is legitimately embarrassing." I thought that fight scene was bad enough. All you needed was him and his shitty ass, like farcical line delivery. "Let there be carnage." That's all you needed, and the movie, like, if it wasn't trash before that, it was trash definitely after that. I've never seen that before, where a mid-credit scene is one of the worst scenes in the whole movie. Like, it's really like bringing the movie down, and it's a mid-credit scene. Like, it's not even in the actual movie. Like, I can't with this movie, man. It's so fucking bad. I don't understand how it was so successful and everybody liked it so much. I don't get it.
Tough to see you in this light, Eddie. Come on over when I get out of here. And I will. There's gonna be carnage.
I remember this movie was, I think, honorable mention on my worst of the year list in what was that, in 2018. So I've never liked this movie. I'm gonna end up giving it the same rating I gave it back then. I'm giving it utter trash, and it is so close. It is like it is this close, really, because this movie is even worse than I remember, to getting my lowest rating. But I'll just keep it at trash, and we'll keep it at that. If there's one last good thing, it's better than Topher Grace and his Venom in Spider-Man 3. It's at least better than that. The dialogue's bad, but it's not that bad. But anyway, that's Venom. And it's awful. It's horrible. It's embarrassing for Sony, if we're being honest. And that's it. Can't wait for the sequel. But yeah, that's it.